So, hello and welcome to the Wiki event. My name is Adrian,
My name is Sammy.
and today we are delighted to have with us Subsocial team. How about you, Biff?
Yeah, my name is Young Beef, or Zachary Edwards. I'm the content lead and community manager at Subsocial. Happy to be here.
It's quite an honor to have Subsocial with us, and you, of course, Biff. And yeah, we are going to start with the first question, a question familiar, a question that you can answer rapidly. The first question is if you can describe Subsocial in only one sentence.
Yeah, that's a hard one with a lot of these projects. I'll do my best. So I'd say that Subsocial is the back end for a Web3 social network that solves most or all of the problems that we see with Web2 social networks, such as Facebook or Twitter.
Yeah, that's amazing. And now if you can describe it like more in deeper, the architecture that have Subsocial, it will be great.
Yeah, so with like Facebook, for example, we think of Facebook as the website or the mobile app, but really that's just the user interface. And then they have a whole back end, which is like their servers, databases, algorithms. And then Twitter, Instagram, they also have user interfaces and then backends. But these backends are not connected. So users on Twitter cannot interact with users on Facebook. And users on these networks don't really own their content or their connections. So I can't take my followers from Twitter and take them with me to Facebook. So for example, Twitter is doing something that I don't like, I can leave, but I can't take any of my stuff with me. So that usually results in people not leaving. So there's not really a way to fight back against these Web2 tech companies, selling our data, manipulating our emotions with the algorithms for content, banning people, stuff like that. So Subsocial, it's basically a blockchain that functions as this backend, the servers, the database. It houses the content and all of the social connections, but users actually own their content and social connections. And so if one network that runs on Subsocial is doing bad stuff, the users can leave and go to a different social network without paying that exit fee, right? Because they can take their content and their followers with them. So this basically makes it a much more competitive space between social networks where they're incentivized to actually do good stuff instead of bad practices like selling data. So it basically solves all those problems that we see with normal Web2 social networks.
That's amazing, Biff. And now, could you explain to us what is the advantage of having the Web3? For example, the login with a wallet instead of a traditional account with an email and a password?
Yeah, so I sort of just touched on it, but it's that by using a wallet and crypto technology, users can actually own their content and their digital connections, so they can't be taken away from you. You can't get banned or have your account deleted, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that this is the idea, have your own wallet, your own identity, and login more easily. And the Web3 technology that you are building, I think that is quite amazing. But now let's talk more in depth about your amazing decentralized article platform. If you could explain the difference of this platform, but for example with Medium.
Yeah, so Medium is a centralized Web2 service, so you can log in with an email, a password, or Google, whatever. And you can post there. All the stuff is stored on their servers, so they control everything. If they want to ban you, they can. If you want to monetize your content on Medium, you have to do it through their company so they can take a cut, stuff like that. With our web app, that's sort of similar to Medium. It's right now it's the only web app running on Subsocial, but it's really more of just a proof of concept. We're looking for a lot of other people to come build better applications on Subsocial. But with our web app, you can make posts on there, but the posts are actually located on the Subsocial blockchain, so no one can delete your posts if you post them in your own space. And we have donations in the platform already, so you can monetize your content directly. There's no middlemen, so if someone makes a donation to you, you receive 100% of that.
Well, that's quite amazing. Could you explain us, for example, how can I get now into the Subsocial articles page, and how can I write my first story?
Yeah, so step one right now is you will need a wallet. I would recommend Talisman for PC and Nova Wallet for mobile. We have some ideas on how to solve the wallet issue where you'd be able to use Subsocial without a wallet. But for now, so you need one of those. And then we have an onboarding process. Right now, you can get Energy for free. So Energy lets you use Subsocial without getting sub tokens. We have a faucet for that in our Discord server so that you can get Energy for free. And you'll encounter this as part of the our recently released onboarding process on our web app when you first go there. So that will walk you through the process of getting Energy, following some spaces, creating your own space, and then you can make posts there.
Wow, so then we can write totally free and get some donations for our amazing work, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's amazing, friend. So now we're going to jump into the.
Okay, we find it very curious how you can donate money to the other people with your articles, how that works.
So when you're reading an article on Subsocial, there's a couple buttons. The most obvious one is at the bottom of an article. We have a big banner. It has a donate button, so you can donate to the author of that article. There's a number of different tokens you can choose from. You basically just put in how many you want to donate and hit the button, sign the transaction, and it will send the donation to that account.
Oh, that's perfect. Now we're jumping another amazing Subsocial, platform that we can find Sub.id project. Could you explain us what exactly this is about?
Yeah, so Sub.id was a side project we released like 15 months ago. And it's basically with the Substrate ecosystem. At that time, there wasn't any way to see all of your balances on one spot. You'd have to go in Polkadot.js and go look through every chain one at a time. It was really slow and clunky. And you couldn't see all of your addresses at one time either. So we built Sub.id where you can just log in with your wallet and you can see all of your Substrate addresses and balances right there in one place, as well as NFTs that you own and crowd loan details. We've added some more features over time. Just a month and a half ago, we got a treasury proposal funded for continued development of that. So we're going to add some staking features, like a staking dashboard, to a couple chains there. So that will be really cool. But we've got some ideas on how we're going to continue to enhance it and make it a valuable tool in the ecosystem. But I will add, it doesn't specifically run on Subsocial, but it is connected to Subsocial. It pulls profile information from Subsocial profiles, but it also connects to over 30 other chains in the ecosystem.
Okay, that's amazing. And now let's talk about another amazing section of Subsocial. The web domains, how does it work?
So the domains are a bit complicated. We've been talking recently about renaming them to get rid of the domain part and just make it more of a naming system. But right now, it's basically a thing that's on the Subsocial blockchain. So you can register a .sama domain to your account, and there's basically two values attached to a domain that you can customize. So we have the inner value, which basically allows you to set that as a username within the Subsocial ecosystem. And you can set the username for a space that you own. So for example, I can have the beef.sub domain, and I can set the inner value of that to be my space where I post blog posts. So then you can just go to app.subsocial.com/beef.sub, and it will take you straight to my space. So it's sort of like a username on Twitter. And then the other value is the outer value. So this sort of functions more like a traditional URL. The problem is traditional web browsers don't support a lot of these top-level domains like .sub, for example. So we thought about making a custom browser extension that would enable this to work, sort of like ENS does. So you'd be able to just type in the URL beef.sub, and it would take you to my space or wherever I wanted it to redirect to. But that's really complicated, a lot of work too, and there's other people working on similar solutions. So like I said, I think we're going to rename it to something more naming focused, and then integrate that with a lot of other projects in the ecosystem and sort of get away from the domain aspect.
Well, that's quite amazing. We're waiting for the new rename and for see these domains active. So yeah, now we are talking more about building dApps on Subsocial. So if I'm a builder of blockchain, new, and I want to create a new dApp, what exactly I have to do to build on Subsocial blockchain?
So you actually don't need to be a blockchain developer to build on Subsocial. I believe as long as you know JavaScript and/or React, you can use our Subsocial SDK and build a web app very easily. We have some videos of our developer experience expert Tushar, basically making like a Twitter clone or an application that's like Twitter, building one in like less than an hour using our SDK. So it's basically just building a web application, and then you hook it up to our blockchain on the back end using the SDK and the API. So you don't need to know Rust or Substrate at all.
So it's a user-friendly area to code a new dApp, right?
Yeah, now if you want to build like some custom features that we don't support yet, if you do have a Substrate dev that can build a palette to do that, then that's great, and you can add more features like that. But as far as just building a fairly basic application or something along the lines of what we already have live, yeah, you don't need to be a blockchain developer to do that at all.
Yeah, that's quite amazing. And power people that don't know blockchain coding. So yeah, now we are going to jump into the one of the final questions, Sammy.
Yes, and finally, we are interested in knowing if you have any future plans or a new dApp for make.
Yeah, so we've been talking for a while about renaming our current web app because it's also named Subsocial, so people get confused between the blockchain and the web app. They think that the whole project is the web app when really we hope to have thousands of different web apps running on Subsocial. Um, so we're thinking about renaming that, redoing the design, making it much better. We're also have plans to make a standalone application for our upcoming Spacers NFT collection. So it's going to be an application just for Spacers, where you can go look at them all. Each NFT will have its own page dedicated to it with like details about it. You can see it in like a large size on the screen, stuff like that. And we also just recently figured out that the first third-party application being built on Subsocial is getting worked on from the Italian community. They're making a blog for the Polkadot Arena community. So they basically used our SDK. I think it's just two guys building this. So it's basically a Italian blog that pulls all of its posts from the Subsocial blockchain. So it's a great example of what's possible there. So that's awesome to see.
Wow, so that's amazing. Now we are. Let's talk about this future about NFT. How do you plan to create some NFTs on social, or you have once NFTs on social net?
So right now, actually, every post and comment on Subsocial is an NFT, but we're using our own NFT standard for that. It's likely that we will be adding the Remark NFT palettes once those are ready, and using those for spaces and posts because it'll let us do a lot of extra functionality. But the main reason that we'll be adding those is eventually we want to migrate the Spacers NFTs that I just mentioned over to the Subsocial chain. And that's so that we can have cool features such as owning a Spacer will give you some free energy every day. So you can use the platform for free without having to get tokens.
Yeah. Yeah. Now we are seeing a new project called Spacers NFT. Maybe you can talk about Spacers a little bit.
Yeah, so it's a collection we recently launched, or I guess like the sale is still ongoing, and it's a pod sale similar to the Canaria eggs. So after the sale, the spacer pods will open, the actual spacers will come out. So there's 10,000 spacers. We have 4 different rarities. Each of the different rarities has a different number of slots that can equip items, which I believe we're the first collection to do that. We're also setting up a Discord server for the Spacer DAO, and we're going to use the Daoist CDK technology from the Invarge team once that is available to really turn that Discord server into an on-chain DAO with a treasury and governance and everything that's managed through Discord. So I'm very excited about that. But we're trying to make the spacers be very intertwined with Subsocial. So just recently put out an article on that called the Spacers Vision, but basically establishing a positive feedback loop where the success of Subsocial improves the success of the spacers, and the success of the spacers improves the success of Subsocial. So we're working to get them really intertwined or help each other grow and succeed. And we're taking a long-term view on that, like 5 to 10 years down the road, not 6 months. So we're really working on a foundation for that right now, but I'm really excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, we are so excited to see a Spacers NFT as well. Now we can mint this NFT right now, or they are in for minting now.
Yeah, so the pod sale is live right now until December 20th. As I mentioned, you can go to pods.spacers.app to mint one of those. Once the pods open, all of the spacers will come out, and then there will be some on the secondary market if you would like to get one then.
Yeah, so we have upload a Spacers NFT bot, and we can evolve it to a Displacer, right?
Could you repeat that?
We have an NFT bot right now, and we can evolve that NFT to the next level, to the Spacer, right?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, that's perfect. Um, Now we have a curious question: is that what do you highlight of Subsocial? What is the highlight of Subsocial? What do you think is the best thing of Subsocial?
I think really the users being able to own their content and their social connections, because that's basically the fundamental key point here. The fact that users don't own their content and social connections is essentially why we have all these problems with Web 2. So that ownership, the self sovereignty over your digital connections, that's basically the key point. That's the difference between Facebook and Subsocial, or Twitter and Subsocial.
Yeah, I think that's amazing on your own data and be yourself. So now we are arrived to the final of this interview. Thank you to all Subsocial team to be with us, Beef, and If you are free to tell us anything, you can talk now.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not on Subsocial, we encourage you to get on. Right now, we have free energy available, so you don't even need to get tokens or anything. You can just get on there and post, start building up a following, monetize your content. In the future, we're definitely going to add more monetization options, like social tokens and subscription payments and that sort of thing. So I think the people that get on there right now, and it's still early, basically, they can really secure a good following going forward.
Yeah. So you can find all the information of Subsocial in the description of the video, Discord, Telegram chat, all in the description. And thank you, John Beef, to be with us, and see you in the next interview.
Yeah, thanks, guys.